Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Manager 2020 for what's likely not going to be the happiest of recording sessions I've ever had. In this one, we have a match against Orlando Pirates, which historically has not gone well for me, and I don't see that changing this time. Although if I can beat them, it pretty much cinches first place for us. And also, most likely, we're going to be losing Innocent Dlamini at some point during this episode because it's been like 3 or 4 days since the Saudis extended their offer to him, and usually people don't consider the contract offers for that long, so he'll be making his decision one way or the other very soon. And I've never had someone reject one of the Middle Eastern clubs, so I don't see this being the moment it starts. I don't know why James McFarlane is suddenly happy. Probably just because I didn't fire him when he was on injury, but I haven't used him once this season. I don't remember what he was mad about, though. At least it looks like we're going to be hanging on to Dlamini for the Hearts of Oak match, but I wasn't worried about that one anyway, so they're just going to make me wait in suspense for longer. I'm not thrilled with that score against Supersport, but they are one of the higher ranked teams in the league right now, and we dominated on possession, so the only place we're really suffering is striking, and given that two of our strikers are out right now, that's kinda to be expected. Honestly, all things considered, I'm still pretty happy to have gotten that draw from Supersport. Not much improvement for next LA. No surprise there, I never use them. We're having to get somewhat creative with our lineups due to the amount of attrition we've been taking over this month, but we have Walker back, which is nice. I don't love playing Matenjwa up here, but hopefully Walker will have rested enough by game time that I can sub him in at the last minute. And honestly, this is the time to play a little weaker squad. I should be able to beat Hearts of Oak fairly comfortably. I don't see the same thing applying to Pirates. If we win Pirates, it's going to be a dirty, long, rough fight. What was that supposed to say? I was talking instead of reading. 4 to 5 attackers they want. That sounds fair. 3. One more attacker if I can find some. He can be pretty good as an attacker. Can't even play attacker at that position. Here we go. Here's my 4th. Safema. Little weak on right there. Just some minor issues. Mostly because Siasi isn't the most comfortable in his position as a central defender. But we'll see if we can't shuffle that around at game time. The media is already assuming Heart of Oak aren't going to be an issue. It's a home match. I'm inclined to agree with them. At least McQuaquin has been doing awesome on performances since he's having to carry the full load of striking. That's good. I'm just worried because we're going to run him out at some point. Sammy CB's doing horrible, but I need to try to hang on to him. Like I've said before, I think he's going to suddenly find himself important again when the higher cost replacements I brought in for him disappear. Oops, should have seen what that one email was about. I'll check before the match. Oh, okay, yeah, I don't care about that. No. This is just to give you remind you that Mally's hosting the final. Nomad is still doing all right. Chikwekwe is still doing well. He's getting pissy, but complimenting or criticizing people at 6.6, 6.7, or 6.7 to about 6.9, 6.6. I usually criticize them and they're usually okay with it. But that little range is always tough because sometimes they're going to be like, yeah, I'm doing as well as I could be expected. It's all good. And sometimes they'll be super salty that I told them they're doing good when they feel like they're not. So potentially we could have an all South African final against Supersport again, but I'm kind of rooting for Casablanca just because it's a more interesting matchup. I feel like with my cup team I could beat Supersport better than I could with the league team, but especially if we get some strikers back from injury. But I think playing Casablanca would be more interesting since we play Supersport a lot. Oops. No, I want it by position. This is what I meant to click. Yeah, here we go. This looks much more like the lineup I wanted. See, I see it there. Mirosavic moves in, and then we can bring in Walker again. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely no one is disappointing on the team right now. Like, this is a very solid squad. Our weakest players are guys like Mkwakwana, who's been carrying the load pretty well at striker, Marjman, Sinago, Mirosavic, Siasi. Nidlovo actually has become one of our weakest players for this lineup, which is insane because he's been carrying us all year. But I think he's been being considered worse just because quite often he's not called on to do much during a match. Our home pitch is starting to get pretty beat up. Like, it's been in not great condition all year, but it's starting to really show the damage. Could have really used that new arena they were thinking of buying me before we got bought out. Which is why I like having Walker in. He's very decisive on the counter attack. Most of the other wingers that can get in on that side will hesitate for a bit when they get the ball. Walker usually is very decisive. Especially when he has Williams to back him up. Those two actually play really well together. They're not in together enough for the game to give me an official, like, comfortable relationship bar on the tactical screen, but just watching them play, they play well together. Williams has been losing a bit of decisiveness over this season just because he's not in on the league games, because I'm trying to watch my costs a bit where I don't need him, but he does play very well when he's in the side. And that looks like we've just drawn a penalty and potentially a card. Gayama might even be gone. No, it was just a straight up foul. It's hard to tell with the circles. I thought it might have been like a trip in the box or so, which can get you straight red card. I can't believe we didn't score with those 3 attempts. That was embarrassing. It's going to be one of those games, is it? Am I going to have to do the work in Ghana? And Safema actually ends up being the first person getting a card. This official doesn't seem super willing to card. Sanago's probably going to draw us a card there. Nope, this ref really doesn't like giving out cards. That should have probably been a yellow for Sanago, realistically. There we go. Walker got us a goal. His 26th, assisted by Innocent Dlamini, who I'm still hanging on to somehow. I don't want to get cocky about that because this does not mean he has rejected the Saudi offer. He's going to make himself as valuable as possible to me to just really make it hurt when he gets yanked away. That was a pretty dangerous attack. We're in the semifinals now, so Hearts of Oak are going to be playing tougher than I have ever seen them, because the other time I've played Hearts of Oak before, but it was always in like early rounds when the teams are just at face value. They seem to get a bit of a buff for semifinals and finals. It was really demonstrated with Chippa in the African Cup, or South African Cup, where we played Chippa in the league and just destroyed them, and then we got them in the cup like 2 weeks later, and we could have beat them. Like, it was kind of bad luck that we lost, but we did lose, and it was a close match, and it would have been even tougher in the final. Winning final matches against anyone is always tough. Here we go, 2 goals now for us. Tunkara gets his 15th, assisted by Walker. Walker in contention for another Player of the Match award. But like I was saying, it seems like the teams get a little bit of a buff for semifinals and finals and cups. At the end of the day, their rating still matters. Like, if we get Casablanca, I think it'll be easier than if we get Supersport. Even with the buff, it's not just like automatically they're tough opponents, but they will be tougher than they normally would be. Not loving how Tunkara is playing today, even though he got that goal. Hearts of Oak are defending really well, though. Like, we're getting a lot of shots on net, but most of them aren't good. We're shooting a lot from, like, here, trying to get past, like, 4 or 5 guys. Makwakwina gets a goal, 29th of the season, assisted by Tunkara. This is turning into a pretty one-sided match, which makes me think that Perhaps the 2.5-star rating was a little generous for Hearts of Oak this season, because they're easier than some of the previous opponents we've faced in this cup. And we haven't really had tough competition here yet. They're making subs already. Wonder if they came into this fatigued. I haven't really been paying attention to their fatigue level. Starting to stack up the yellow cards now. And that's something I notice a lot of the not top tier African teams do, is just launch the ball forwards into places where the only player standing there is one of mine. He can just stand there and wait for the ball to land at his feet. It seems to be a pretty common thing where if they feel pressured, they just launch the ball forwards and don't really care about where it's going. Yeah, I thought Tunkara was offside for that, so I'm not shocked that that got called back. Still, we're 51 minutes in. They've only had 2 shots. That was a dangerous strike, but we were able, or cross, but we were able to protect against it pretty well. Tunkara again, 16th of the season, assisted by Dlamini, just to make it really painful when he gets taken from me. Tunkara is probably going to be our player of the match. It's hard to argue with 2 goals unless someone else also scores 2 goals. And with the way this game has been going, that's very possible. Oops. Didn't mean to bring that up just yet. There, at least, they had a player in the vicinity. We were able to intercept it, but it wasn't just being launched blindly into an open area of the pitch and hoping that they'd be there instead of us. See, everyone's playing really well. Sifema is the one, vaguely disappointing player, so I'll pull him out and get Fountain some time. It's been a while since I've had Fountain in. He's still looking good on his match sharpness, so he must be getting play with the secondary teams. It's going to take some of the attacking methods off there and bring in the first disappointing ability player, but still should be very strong with the team we have. And immediately making an impact on the game. Getting it up to Walker, which is the most dangerous position for a ball to be in right now. Fountain's definitely making an impact very early in this match. Well, in his involvement in this match. Okay. Now it gets tough because everyone's playing well. I guess I'll take Marchman off. Put in Melula. May as well replace that entire line. Oh look, it's another position Meilula's not super comfortable in. Don't actually want to change that. I can't make it any better. Might as well keep him playing the way the team's used to that position being played. He's only decent, but we're up 4 goals. Now's the time to get him some playing time. They're pretty well on possession, but nothing they did when they had the ball mattered at all. They just ran down the clock when we're winning, so I'm fine with that. We're going to be going away with like a 4-goal advantage, maybe only 3. They've got fouled. Probably going to get a card from that once the game actually slows down. But currently the refs are kindly letting us play advantage. No, they got away with another one. This ref is very forgiving. That's fine though. For a cup semi-final, I'm alright with mostly a just let them play attitude. I don't want to win this or lose this on our ability, not on someone getting red carded. Williams is actually kind of having a bit of an off game. Might as well get Foster in there for a few minutes. He doesn't really need the additional time, but I don't have anyone else I really want to sub, so I might as well let Foster get some time. He's only useful in the position, but I don't see Hearts of Oak coming back in the last 10 minutes. And while Foster doesn't need any match sharpness, it can't hurt to get him some more familiarity in the position. It's the thinnest position on the entire team, so if we can get more people comfortable playing there, it can only help us. We're getting a bit of a dangerous attack here, but it's literally the last action of the game, and there we go. Nedlovu's up to 363 minutes without conceding, and that was the only stat relating to us. That was a better win than I was expecting. So we're going to have some momentum as we head into Orlando. I was correct, Tunkara was the player of the match. It's hard to bump them up from exceptional morale to perfect morale, so I'm not shocked that that didn't really move the needle. Apparently McQuaquina was playing quite well. Makes sense. We set a new record for number of goals in the Confederation Cup with 75. Breaking the previous record of 74, also set by us. And I think we'll break that again because we'll need to score at least once against Supersport or Casablanca, whoever makes it to the final. I'm kind of just assuming it's going to be Supersport. I'm just assuming we're making it through the second leg because with the trouncing we gave them there, even if they win by like 3, we're still up. Yep, there's what I was expecting. Dlamini left. 1.2 million was just too much for him to resist. So we've lost him, but we had him for 2 games after he got sent the contract, so could have been worse. Unfortunately, we have to send 40% of that 1.2 million to Chiefs. Dlamini leaving has made CB happy to stay, but now February's upset. Let's see if I can get Grant to deal with it for me. Not shocking that February's not that fit. He was upset that Dlamini gets sold, but so was I, so. Same, brother, but we managed to resolve it just by the fact that I cared enough to talk to him. Because February is another one I kind of need to keep happy because I suspect I'm going to be relying on him a lot more because I don't think I'm going to be able to afford to keep the goaltender I have now. Now time to get pummeled to end the recording session against Orlando. See, Orlando have us, then a bunch of pretty easy matches. We have Orlando, then a bunch of really easy matches. So we should win everything after Orlando. Which makes the big question is how do Pirates do against Chiefs? Supersport have a tough lineup other than Golden Archers. Or Golden Arrows, rather. I don't think anyone else is really in danger of taking it. They're down to 45, but tough schedule for Sundowns. Chiefs have a very tough schedule. Yeah, so it's pretty much us, Pirates, and Supersport. And we have a game in hand against Supersport. Although that may have gone away, actually. I wasn't looking at how many games were left to play. Chikwekwe managed to score for his lone club. Sefema is likely going to be the player of the tournament for the South African FA Cup. We've got Sefema and Tunkara in the running for youth player, but neither of them is expected to win that likely. It's likely going to go to someone from Supersport, so we'll see how that shakes out. This is kind of painful to see the squad we're having to bring here. Have to put Adam in at fullback, Saketlong up here, and then Fountain as our number 9 for Dlamini. There's Savivic's a little disappointing. Adam is horrible. Saketlong is not very good. Fountain's actually decent in here, but I don't love this. I wish I could register some new players to deal with that, but the For us, I think we actually have the edge over Pirates. If we can win that match, we pretty much win the league. McQuaquina is on the way to become our leading goal scorer. He's tied for the lead right now. If he makes one more, he becomes the leader. Walker is in contention for assists. He's one behind the record right now. The coach of Pirates is being a cunt, but whatever. I don't care if he likes how I play, especially if I beat him. Senamel I have no intention of using, so sure, he can go to the youth team. Fountain's going to have to go in for direct free kicks. I've actually got plenty of people already in there. I don't know why they're already suddenly concerned that Fountain isn't one of them, but whatever, I'll let them take him too. McQuaquina is the best I have for corners, which isn't great. At least I have someone able to take corners now. Long. Yeah, I actually need to bring someone in here for this. Don't really have a lot of strength at a lot of these positions. McQuaquina, central indirect. And then deep indirect would be Fountain. Yeah, I don't really... I have Sefema there. So that one's not horrible. The places I'm bringing Fountain in, I have some coverage. I've got nothing on the other positions. Showing how battered my team's getting, because I had numerous people filling all those positions earlier. Nothing interesting going on here. Except Nedlevo's been great in goal, which we've known. That's why I'm worried I'm not going to be able to keep him over the summer. Still going to let him know he's doing great now. Interestingly, they didn't recommend me to not go attacking against Pirates, which makes me think they know something I don't. So yeah, tactical advice summary. I'd get stuck in and change tactical style, but nothing about how aggressive we should be. This is actually the most confident I think the press has been about us taking on Pirates. And we do still have that game in hand over Super Sport. I just checked it. So I don't see us scoring below third, which means we're guaranteed African football next year if we can get that. But mathematically, we can still get worse. Okay, pitch. Windy. That might be at the disadvantage of Pirates, we've actually racked up some wins in the last couple of years. It's not as one-sided as it used to be. But they've still beat us more than twice as often as we've beat them. In fact, they've beat us more than we've beat them or drawn put together. And this is why I didn't worry about pulling Adam from the youth team, because Foster is also awful in that position, but he's no worse than Adam was. Like, with the shuffle we had to make to account for Dlamini going away, we were going to have a 1.5 star player there. Mirosavic's not great. As covered, Foster's terrible. Saket-Long is pretty bad up here, so we're going to want to lean on Walker pretty hard. But that's it for the weak points in the team. We're still not looking terrible, even though losing Dlamini was a huge hit. And we're immediately seeing the speed with which Pirates can move the ball. They went too fast and got offside, but they're so much more decisive. I think our big advantage is that their goaltender is hurt. Peterson might not be playing his best this game because of that. And if he tweaks that injury, they might have to bring in a much weaker goaltender. Not that I'm advocating for my players to try to injure their goaltender. That would be ridiculous and would get us in a lot of trouble, but it is a fact to consider. We need to get the ability to put the shots on target first. And there we see the difference, how long it took Siasi to make up his mind versus how fast Pirates were moving the ball earlier. They're looking way more defensive than I'm used to seeing them, which is nice. And 6 shots to 1 is unusual for this matchup, too. That's why we don't usually let Saket-Long shoot, but he decided he was not going to make a cross there, and we just had to go with it. We've fallen to third, so Supersport are clearly doing well in their match. That's not surprising. We expected them to win today. Pirates are starting to wake up now. The possession and shots are starting to close. They've found a weak point in the defensive line now, and they're trying to exploit it. And they eventually did with Mabatha scoring, assisted by Hadebi. Honestly, even if we draw this match, I'm going to be ecstatic. This is never a match I come in expecting to win. They just have so much better control of the ball than we do. And now Saketlong's gotten himself a yellow card. Stacking up the yellow cards in this matchup is not what I was hoping for, but I did tell them to get stuck in, and it seems like we have a strict referee today, so my bad, I guess. Maybe not the game to give that directive. I'm assuming that's what's causing the problem, because Pirates haven't gotten a single yellow card yet, and this game doesn't simulate biased officiating. The officiating is always fair. Still, we're only down 1.5, and we've had a lot of good chances. We can actually pull this back. It's a really bad time to get this match when we just lost Dlamini and haven't had a chance to really adapt to it yet. But we're still in this. Siasi gets a yellow card, so we're in danger of some serious attrition in the next couple of matches because of suspensions. Not to mention potentially going down to 10 players for this match. But so far people have been good about backing off once they've been carded. I think the Pirates player thought they were offside there and quickly stopped, and worked out for us. I don't like how Fountain and Makwakwina are pushing into this, or not Makwakwina, Saketlong are pushing into the center so much. It's making it easier for them to defend against us. A lot of people are just playing kind of mediocre, but no one's playing badly, which is nice to see. So I'm going to see if I can bring someone in for Saketlong. Tau. Tau's my best bet here. He's not good in that position, but let's see if I can bring Fountain over for him. No, I can't. Safema, can you move up there? Yeah, I can put Safema up there, and then I can put Tau back here. That'll be as good as it's gonna get. They're about 2 stars in those positions, but it's not really much of a drop from what we were having with Saketlong there. That was actually a nice steal from Margeman. On a yellow, too. We're forcing them to play back to the goaltender a lot, which is nice. But that's the difference between a team like them and one of the weaker teams like Heart of Oak that we were just playing, because when they launch it forwards, there's someone there to receive it. It's not just hope that their players are in that part of the pitch. And this is in high winds that they're getting that level of precise passing. I think it's important to get McQuaquin off. He's not having a great game. We'll put Nishangasi in for him. I have a billion strikers, which is nice. Most of them are awful, but I have a ton of them. Like, Nishangasi's not the level I'd want, but he's not horrible. Peterson's been having a good game even though he's working hurt. I noticed some brutal fatigue player levels on one of their players too, right before that screen went away, so there's something we can push on. I didn't see who it was though. It was embarrassing how quickly Walker lost control of that, but at least it was a rare case where there actually was an empty part of the pitch that the ball got played to. Now if we can just break through this defensive clumping they're going for. But Peterson did Peterson things again. So last sub. Walker started to fall off. It's time to get rid of him from Matenjwa. Sanagu got a yellow card. Here's Matenjwa in. He's not... I'll be alright if I put him as a supporting winger. Still not the caliber I want. So I have like no good striking, which is going to make tying this game difficult. But the guys I had in just weren't playing well. Sometimes a worse player that's got energy and is motivated to make an impact just counts for more than a good player that's playing badly. That's what I'm counting for anyway, but I'm thinking this is just going to be a 1-0 loss. Which, given the time that this match fell at, I'm pretty okay with. Like, we're playing okay, given that I had to make pretty drastic changes to the team lineups. Mirsavic got a yellow. So basically, like, 2/3 of my team has had yellow cards. This definitely was winnable. Cynical foul there. They didn't even get carded, and they were able to get back to defend on what could have been a pretty dangerous breakaway. Yeah, we've lost. Little disappointed with how that played out, but given when it happened, to only lose by one, I'm not upset with the team. The only relevant stat relating to us was that Nidlova was beaten after 363 minutes without conceding. And yeah, it was totally one of those days. We played well. We just had a team shuffle, and we were playing the best team in the league. So we've fallen to third. We have one game in hand. We're out of the African positions, but I still think we can get back above Supersport. I don't think we can beat Pirates at this point, because they just gained 6 on us, but we might get some money from Pirates for them playing Debbie, which would be nice. And I'll tell Dlamini he's been doing well. So that was about mid-level of how I thought that would go. We're out of that brutal April, though, which is nice. We're going to have to keep up a bit of the schedule until the 12th. It's a little lighter. But we're going to get African games in there, so it's still going to be a rough month. But I think we're going to have a pretty good coast into the end of the season. Next session, we're going to have Hearts of Oak and Maritzburg United, so 2 very winnable matches. Hearts of Oak, we're pretty much going to bring a very weak team because the weather forecast is brutal there. And we've been playing this heavy schedule, and they need to beat us by 4 goals. 5, really, because 4 would be a tie, which I think we could take in the shootout. And even one of our weaker teams, I think, can excuse me. Even one of our weaker teams, I think, can pick up at least 1 against them. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident for that one. But for how it actually plays out, you'll have to tune in next time. For now, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.